Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV. It's been a while, ladies and gentlemen, but it feels like I say that every time, so let's not dwell on it. Now that Stormblood's launch has calmed down a little bit, I think it's time I hop back on Healer Happy and work him up to Stormblood. I originally wanted that complete prior to the launch, but with all the craziness that happened with the media tour and all the videos, didn't finish it. So, let's start it now. We get to talk about a lot of Stormblood changes today, and over the next few videos, we'll be adjusting people who might be returning to the game after having played previously, maybe 2.x or 3.x, but they haven't yet maybe dived back into 4.0 or diving back into it as they're seeing this video right now. For those of you who are watching this sort of in order from the previous part and aren't up to that yet, this information will hopefully still be useful to you, although some of it you'll definitely have figured out by now. So I actually have already been doing some quests. I thought I was recording, and it turns out I wasn't. So I'm sorry you missed some footage of me running around doing a few fetch quests. But before we go anywhere, the first thing I want to talk about is the changes to skills in Stormblood. If it's your first time playing in quite some time, when you first log in, you're going to see that your hotbars are full of red lines through them, inaccessible abilities. So a lot of changes were made to the way that abilities work, including the cross-class system being removed and replaced by role actions, as well as just certain skills being pruned or consolidated off of a job. So the first thing you're going to want to do is remove all those skills from your hotbar. I've already gone ahead and done it, and as you can see, I have a lot of open space on my hotbar because of it. One of the other big changes after you get rid of all of those abilities with the red line or the X through them is changes to your current actions, ones you still have. So one of the big ones is, before we had Stone 1, Stone 2, and if we look at our job actions, we have Stone 3. Prior to this video, we were keeping all of those like somewhere on our hotbar. You no longer have to do that. The same goes with Arrow 1 and Arrow 2, though Arrow 3 is still its own separate ability. What they basically did is with a few traits, they make it so that spells automatically upgrade and fill in the same spot as you level up, as opposed to you needing to learn a new skill and then integrate that into your gameplay. So you can see on my hotbar, I have Stone 3, Arrow 2, and Arrow 3, all right next to each other. That used to be Arrow 1, Arrow 2, and Arrow 3. But Arrow 1, and I can even show you what it looks like, Arrow 1 will automatically upgrade to Arrow 2 at 46. So if I try to put Arrow 1 on my hotbar, you can see it right there, it automatically transformed to Arrow 2. That way there's no mistake. I can't accidentally have lower tier skills on my hotbar. And if I level sync below level 46, it will automatically de-transform back to Arrow 1. So I don't even have to worry about swapping out abilities on my hotbar in the first place. So it definitely helps for level syncing, though it would still be nice to have all of your skills when you level sync, even if they're weaker. I understand that there would be some huge balance problems with that. Other changes to the White Mage since the last time we did this, Fluid Aura no longer deals damage, so it's just a knockback utility. For that reason, I took it off of one of my primary hotbars as I was using it to do DPS. Just it was a free hit, basically, for a pretty large potency, and that's not really a thing anymore either. Going into my job actions, not much has really changed here, although you can see a few actions were removed. As you can see, Protect is no longer a Conjurer/White Mage skill, since it's not on this list right here. Shroud of Saints isn't here. Divine Seal isn't here. So again, a lot of things have changed in where those skills are located and how they're accessed. Stone Skin was completely removed. Stone Skin 2 was completely removed. And it's going to take some getting used to in this series talking about that. But luckily, I've already leveled White Mage to 70 on my other character, on my main. So I'm pretty well versed in the White Mage play at the very least. So, on top of traits, before we get to the role actions, let's talk about traits. For the most part, these have remained the same with the addition of the mastery skills, but for one of the big ones is this gauge right here. You may have been wondering what this symbol is right here on my screen where my cursor is. So every job in the game got what is called a job gauge, which basically gives them some sort of either tracking an old mechanic the job had, like for monks, it tracks Grease Lightning and Forbidden Chakra stacks, or for White Mage, a new system altogether, which is called the Lily stack. Basically, with this passive right here at level 52, every time I cast Cure 1 or Cure 2, I'll generate 1 Lily, and I can hold a maximum of 3. Whenever I execute an off-global cooldown skill, such as Asylum, Assize, Divine Benison, or Tetragrammaton, it will reduce the cooldown of that skill based on how many lilies I had when I casted it, and then it will consume all of the lilies. So it's basically a way of me getting access to my skills more frequently. To be honest, as a white mage, you don't think about it too much outside of Divine Benison, which I don't have at level 60. But it is something to keep in mind as soon as you hit 52, because that is when you will get your first off global cooldown skill that it can work on, Asylum. It does not work on Benediction, sorry. And then Assize, which I've talked about how great of a skill that is throughout most of the series, etc, etc. It doesn't work on Thin Air or Plenary Indulgence either, but those are skills that we won't even get to for quite some time. Finally, before you go out and adventure into the world and get caught up again, you have role actions, which replaces the old cross-class system. A lot of skills here seem familiar, and we'll talk about each one of them specifically for healers, since all the healers have access to these role actions. You no longer need to level secondary classes to unlock jobs. You no longer need to level secondary classes in order to gain access to essential skills for your job. They are all present here in the role actions. You can only hold up to 5 at a time, though, actively in combat. So we have to make some decisions here. The first one sparks an interesting conversation, Cleric Stance. You're probably wondering why that's not the first thing that I took. Well, another big changes to healers is that our damage now scales with mind, meaning Cleric Stance no longer swaps intelligence and mind and gives you a flat damage buff. It just gives you attack magic potency because your damage is always unlocked as a healer now. I don't need to switch to Cleric Stance, throw out a couple holies, switch back, worry about if Cleric Stance gets stuck or anything like that. It's far more beginner friendly, and if you're someone who's being pressured into DPSing as a healer and you're not fully comfortable with it, it will be easier for you to make the dive. To be honest, Cleric Stance sucks now. It's awful. Attack magic potency plus 5%, that's not even 5% more damage. Potency is just one part of the equation. It's even worse than that. So we almost never take Cleric Stance. It can be good if you really don't need anything else, but almost always you will never take it. It's like a positive negative. Then you have Break. So Stone 1, as you saw, is no longer on my hotbar, and Stone 3 doesn't have a heavy effect. So this has a heavy effect now. If you really need a heavy effect as a healer for some reason, which there are a few very niche ones, you can take this, whatever. Protect is here. I mean, that's still pretty much the same as it always was, and one thing I can recommend doing with Protect, I'm not going to do it in this video, I'll probably do it in a future one, but you can actually use Protect on a party at the beginning of the dungeon, and assuming no one dies and you won't need to use Protect again, you can make a macro that swaps it for a different role action for the rest of the dungeon. And then if you ever need it, you can press another macro that'll swap to the Protect and then swap back. It's something we'll definitely cover in a future video, because it's something that a lot of healers are doing right now. That way they don't have to hold on to Protect the entire time. As soon as here, this works the same as it did on all the other healers as well. If you're going to need to remove detrimental status effects, you will take this as a white mage. If not, you won't take it. If you're new to a dungeon and you don't know if you'll need it, it might be one of those skills you consider running just in case, but don't consider it mandatory. I'm actually going to leave it off for now, especially because I'm just doing job quests, or story quests. Lucid Dreaming, we lost Shroud of Saints. Lucid Dreaming is Shroud of Saints, it's just in the role actions. Take it every time, no question. Swiftcast used to be a cross-class action, still a role action at the very least. Take it every time. Swiftcast Holies or Swiftcast Resurrections, always valuable. Eye for an Eye, same as before, no longer Arcanist cross-class, it's in the role action system. Works the same, great for dungeons, great for big pulls. Consider it an option all the time, but you don't always need to use it. Largus, White Mages lost Divine Seal. This is Divine Seal. 20% increase healing magic potency. Always, always, always useful, unless you're doing content where healing is like non-factor. I still usually take it for dungeon runs. This plus a regen plus Asylum, Medica 2, whatever. If I could just keep large heal over times ticking, then, well, this becomes more valuable, and I don't need to heal as much throughout a dungeon. Surecast, similar to the way it worked before, but it now additionally nullifies knockbacks and draw-in effects. So if you're trying to avoid a knockback or a draw-in, you can also use Surecast. It has a dual functionality, so consider it an option for certain scenarios, but still very niche. And then finally we have Rescue. I'm going to turn down the game music a little bit. Actually, it's actually not that loud. Rescue is a new skill, nothing like any of the old ones, where you can pull a party member to your side. Now, there are good uses for this. If somebody's out of position for a mechanic, or they're in a dangerous area and you're not sure they'll make it out in time, or you want to just give them more uptime so they don't need to worry about moving as much. But more than often, I just see people pull people to their death. Troll skill. I don't recommend using it all that much unless you are not a troll and you are certain you can use it during certain parts of the game. So it's there, it does have its uses, but it sits on a pretty long cooldown, so you kind of want to know you're going to use it before deciding to take it as a skill. Okay, and with that out of the way, I'm going to start doing my main scenario quests and keep talking about some of the changes that came to Stormblood from the last time that we actually had to do this. I know that generally when I get to these parts of the videos where I'm just grinding out main scenario quests, which by the way, we have a ton of, I don't really have a whole lot to talk about sometimes. However, here, it's actually really important that I'm doing main scenario quests because this is a big thing that came out in Stormblood that we're going to talk about right here. So, I'm doing my main scenario quest right now. However, I think it's no secret at this point that Final Fantasy XIV has a metric ton of quests to do. If you're new to the game, the number of story quests can be overwhelming and not necessarily fun, especially through a lot of A Realm Reborn. It's admittedly not a great series of quests. However, they have since added a paid option if you wish to skip what I'm doing now. There are 2 potions available. One of them is an A Realm Reborn story skip potion. This will skip you ahead of the 2.55 main scenario quests and unlock everything or dungeon related or what you need to unlock related along the way. Basically, you don't need to do Chrysalis, you don't need to do Steps of Faith, any of the dungeons. You'll skip right to the very first quest of Heavensward. Now, that does not level your character. It only skips the story. So if your character is level 1 and you skip the story, guess you're leveling your level 1 character to 50 without any story quests. So keep that in mind, and we'll talk about that a bit later. There is also, for $7 more, the Realm Reborn potion is $18, by the way. The Heavensward potion will skip you to the end of the Heavensward main scenario quest, so at the end of 3.56, and basically start you right on Stormblood's first main scenario quest. Same deal, doesn't level you. So if you're going to do that and you're level 1, well then this next option we're going to talk about here is important. The Heavensward potion, the story skip potion, is $25. Finally, we have job level boost potions. So job level boost potions basically take 1 job on a character, and you can only do this once per account as of patch 4.0, though they may raise that limitation after 4.1 comes out. It'll raise that job to level 60, give it a full set of armor that it can use to get started in Stormblood, and unlock all your job skills, do all your job quests, and a whole bunch of other things. And it even gives you some gil, it gives you a bunch of stuff. Obviously, there's a bunch of things going on with that one. But like I said, you can only use 1 per account. So, if you pair that with the job potion, or with the story skip potion, you don't have to worry about leveling that first job. But then you're probably wondering, well, what about subclasses, and what about secondary classes, and all that stuff? You don't need to level those anymore. You don't need to level a second class to unlock jobs anymore. If you want to get to White Mage, you know what you do? Level Conjurer to 30 and do all your class quests. Don't need Thaumaturge or Arcanist, and then Monk doesn't need like Marauder, and Dragoon doesn't need Marauder. You just need the base class, get it to 30, do all your class quests, and then unlock it with the first job quest. So you don't have to worry about that. Obviously, you don't need to worry about the cross-class system anymore either. We just covered that with the role actions. So it's just a paid option for you to skip past main scenario quests, should you desire to do it. As you can see, I am not desiring to do it. So what does that mean? It means that I'm actually doing my story quests, and I probably didn't mean to hit all of these NAF. And I should probably start using Arrow 3 since it's going to be pretty strong. Yeah, only 2 of these mobs I actually needed to... Oh, now I can just run. If I really want to, I could just run. In fact, I'm just going to run. Ah, there's no point. There's another destination right here. I guess I could probably lose aggro on a couple of them. The Cultivator I should be able to lose aggro on, too. Yep, I can't lose aggro on the Steel Drone, though. So I'm choosing to do the main scenario quests on this character. I don't want to use the story skip potion when I only have Heavensward quests left. Heavensward quests are way more tolerable and go way faster than the Realm Reborn quests. So it's a mixed bag. You can do it however you want. For the sake of this series, though, I am going to go through the actual quest. I'm not going to be like, well, I just paid $25 so we could continue in Stormblood. Nah, man, I don't expect... This series was originally created for new players. I do not have the expectation of a new player to immediately be like, you know what, I just dropped money on this game. I totally want to skip the first 60 levels worth of stuff. Let me throw another $50 at it to level a job plus skip the story. That's not what I want to encourage here in this series. If you want to do it, go for it. I'm not going to stop you. In fact, I think it was a necessary evil that they needed to add to the game sooner or later. And I'm sure it'll be updated with other potions going forward as more content is released and more expansions are released. But for this series, new player friendly, and I don't think telling people, yeah, go drop $50 on a game you just dropped however much money on, $60 plus you have a subscription to pay. I'm not going to encourage that here. I'm going to encourage doing it the good old-fashioned way. To be fair, that's easier to do when I'm not doing a Realm Reborn story mission. So honestly, if you at least want to skip those, I totally understand. Even if you are going to skip the Realm Reborn story missions, to be honest, I think you should do up to the level 50 quests and then buy the potion. Because if you do that, you don't have to buy a job level potion, and you can save that for maybe sometime when you actually want to use it. And 2, yeah, the only part that really sucks about a Realm Reborn story quest is 2.1 to like 2.3. 2.4 and on gets a lot better and a lot faster and a lot more tolerable, but those 2.1 to 2.3 is awful. So if you are going to do a job skip potion, or if you're going to do a story skip potion, that's what I would recommend doing. Get to level 50 naturally. Do the Realm Reborn story up to the Praetorium dungeon, complete the Praetorium, and then buy a Realm Reborn story skip potion. You don't have to do that again. But if you're going to do it, that would be my recommendation. It sucks I have to spend so much of this time talking about skipping the story, but it is what it is. Oh, another big thing is I kind of want the EXP from completing main scenario quests. One of the big things is when a new expansion comes out, they add experience points to all the story quests that didn't previously have experience points because they were at max level. So I get, not a whole lot, but I got like, what, 100k from the quests for 3.1, which I'm almost done with, by the way. Like, I had maybe spent 15 minutes talking before I realized that this part wasn't recording, because I did say at the beginning here that I accidentally didn't record. And then it's been another 17 minutes, and I'm almost done with 3.1. But like, that should be a testament to how quickly those story quests go. So next I go to Amaniline and the Jeweled Crozier. When I get to like 3... So here's the thing. With 3.3 we have Sorkai and we have Nidhogg. With 3.4 we have Zelphatol. And with 3.5 we have Baelsar's Wall. So there are some things that are going to take entire episodes that make this take a little longer. That being said, the quests themselves do not take very long. So if we move along at a decent enough pace, we should be okay. Yeah, I've got 103,000 out of 4.4 million. For me, I like to skip side quests. Any sort of alleviation of needing to do side quests for me is totally worth it. Alright, let's go up this way. Oh, another change, by the way, one that I kind of almost glanced over, Sprint. Sprint lasts 20 seconds in cities or outside of combat, and it has a 60-second cooldown now. So it's not like you can sprint constantly to get around. People have actually been actively complaining about that because they used to use Sprint to get around cities a lot faster, which you're kind of seeing the result of it not being on the same old cooldown that it was. Yeah, 20 seconds when not in combat, 10% in combat. And it's unavailable in PvP. There's an entirely different skill for PvP. So, yeah, it's going to take me a little bit longer to get around the cities because of that. It's a little tedious, but, I mean, it's a minor price to pay. Do I have that instance in the vault for 3.1? I don't remember if I do. Guess we'll find out quickly enough. The number of sprints I get off in a video is like a good way of me telling how many minutes it's been. Gotta keep a sprint counter in the corner. No T-Mobile. So hopefully a lot of that information regarding changes for the expansion, that's not everything. I just want to put that out there. That wasn't everything. But those are some of the big points I wanted to hit in sort of our first post-Stormblood video. Because I have had a lot of people say, hey, Happy, I haven't played the game in X amount of time. And I'm like, oh, well, you know, I don't really have any resources for that. So consider this almost like the start of the Stormblood resources. And I'm going to start referencing people to this, I suppose. Seems to make the most sense. Yeah. So this has to be when I have that vault instance. I just remembered the event that happened while I was out getting Thancred. It didn't show because I skipped the cutscene, but I remember it. Rendezvous with Alphino in the Broom. Oh, Alphino. There he is. Alright, against the dying of the light. Yep. I think right after this is going to be the instance. This just basically takes me up the stairs, but you know what? Anything's faster. What do we got here? Primal accessories of fending and primal accessories of slaying. Okay, so this is another thing. When you come back to the game, remember when I said they added experience points to these quests? Yeah, they also added just straight up armor to them as well. I don't need fending or slaying. I need these ones. Really? How come the fending and slaying one gets to come before I do the instance and this one comes after the instance? As goes light, so goes darkness. So the way to know it's the final quest in the series, by the way, is to if the name of the quest is the name of the patch. So as goes light, so goes darkness was the name of patch. Where am I going? The pillars. The name of patch 3.1. So the easiest way to know it's the last quest is to see if the name of the quest is the same as the name of the patch. So this is going to be a solo instance coming up right here that takes place in the vault. And this is going to give me my healing loot. Now, I don't think I need it. What am I wearing on this character again? Antiquated Orison. So, but Primal is iconic. So I think this is going to be item level 230 gear that I get from this. I think so. I think it's going to be item level 230. So they do give you things that allow you to... Oh, wow. It's in the Jeweled Crows. Yeah, I should have just gone there. It just said in the pillars, so I didn't even think to look. Yeah, so they'll give you armor. Now, like I said, the job skip potion also gives you the armor, or also gives you armor in general. But don't worry about getting far behind on armor here. This is not too hard of an instance, thankfully. Or I could accidentally press no after all that. There we go. Yeah, a lot of instances in the main scenario quest eventually have scenarios like this. Yeah, so as you can see, no stance dancing, and I'm full damage output right here. The only problem being that there's a ton of NPCs here. And I gotta get used to actually controlling my character again. I say it every time, but it's more so now because all my skills have moved around for the expansion launch, which I knew would happen. I always have to refamiliarize. I take too many breaks in between this. I don't think I hit them, guys. So all we're trying to do here, by the way, is kill off these guys, which, by the way, as you can see, die very, very quick. And then we got to save a bunch of NPCs. So if I recall correctly... Yep, there's a hostage right there. We gotta make sure that we don't let this guy just kill the hostage for no reason. The heck? Oh. Yeah, I keep pressing a button thinking it's gonna be arrow 1. I'm like, oh man, what's Stone 3 doing there? Alright. Oh, alright. Annihilated. You know, I just realized, do I have to untie these hostages, or are they untying the hostages? They're untying the hostages, okay. There's one where I have to untie the hostages. This will probably help to have this. Keep going, I will hold them here. You, doing alright there, Vault Friar? Alright, they're gonna take care of that stuff back there. Me and Artoirel, I'll take care of this stuff up here. See how nice it is to not need to stance? I wonder if it's going to make me do this. So there's actually a secret room coming up not too long. Oh, no, I got to do this first. So what's going to happen is a battle is going to start right here. And then I have to go back and save a bunch of NPCs while the battle is going on right here. And then I got to come back and finish this battle. Yep, there it is. Luckily, I've got Holy Spam. And now these I need to undo. Alright, so it says that I've rescued 2 out of the 6, so this would be 4. And I think the other 2 are... Yeah, I can see them from here. Well, there's... Actually, is that 2 or is that just 1? I think that's just 1. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm a healer here, so I have one added advantage. I can heal the refugees. And that's 4 out of 6, so there is still 1 more somewhere. And I think there's another one down the hall. Sir Amaric needs our help. Oh, no, the final hostage is the one that the boss is holding. Okay. It's been a while. And I've got 3 lilies ready to go. So with 3 lilies, my cooldown on a size is going to be reduced by 20%. So it's 60 seconds, so it'll go down to 48 seconds. Alright. Alright, let's go Presence of Mind. Holy. I think that's the last one I really need. And now we'll just kill him off, and that'll be it. That'll be done for the 3.1 main scenario quests. I think that's a good place to wrap up this first video with all the info and whatnot. And then that's it. That should be all the hostages rescued. Once we go up here, there's one more and we're good. Then it's dinner time for me. I'm gonna hit that render button. It's dinner time. Yeah, buddy. Duty complete. There you go. I'm surprised it doesn't even say duty complete for that one. I guess technically because the story for it's not complete till after the cutscene. Alright, and there you go. That's the end of 3.1. So we've got 3.2, 3, 4, 5, and 5.6, which we'll probably try to do. We can't really do 3.5 and 3.56 all in the same because of Baelsar's Wall. But we'll do all of 3.5 in one, including Baelsar's Wall. And we'll do 3.56 as a solo instance, but that's it. No, we should probably do them as two separate. And honestly, I need to do 3.3 as two separate also, because of Nidhogg. So we've got a handful of videos coming up. Denied the reward. This, by the way, has the healing coffer. So I actually want to talk about these coffers when they come up, because these are also something that's new, or it's a new concept. So we saw these before, but you can see that they're offering me accessory coffers of healing, casting, aiming, and then a silver piece. So coffers are a new concept that was added in Stormblood, where basically it's one chest that contains multiple items, and it's a consumable. Basically, as soon as you use the coffer or the chest or whatever they're calling it, it gives you all the items inside all at once. So it's a way of consolidating the number of items. Once you've used it, though, you can't put them back in the coffer. So you can only use these in main cities, and there's a whole bunch of different ones. There's ones that come from your job quests, specifically the level 70 job quests. There's ones that come from your main scenario quests for 3.0 through 3.56. And there's other ones that come from other stuff, such as the new Savage raids and whatnot. But basically, and I'll grab it right here, we'll grab the healing accessories, press quest complete, skip the cutscene, get the achievement. So it goes. And now, if we check my armory chest... Oh yeah, another thing that was changed, by the way. I don't know how I got through this whole video without mentioning it. They added 10 spaces to each of your armory chests. That's the wrong place. So now I go to my inventory. And I go to the coffer right here. Primal accessory. Accessories of healing coffer. Use it. Because I'm in Ishgard, I can use it right now. And augmented primal ring, bracelet, choker, and earring gave me all 4 of those items. So if I go to my armory chest, go to my earrings, bam, item level 240. And then obviously I can just do, still trying to remember all the buttons. I can go to recommended gear. It'll automatically upgrade them. Now we've got a bunch of higher item level stuff. But anyway, that's going to be a wrap for the Return to Healer Happy video. Thank you for joining me. Next video, we'll be dashing into 3.2. We're going to grab the quest right now so I don't forget it. So we're going to be doing the 3.2 main scenario quest in the next video. Then 3.3 will split into 2 parts, Sorkai and the Nidhogg quest. And then for 3.4, we have a dungeon. 3.5, we have a dungeon. 3.56, we just have cutscenes and a solo instance. So we got a little ways to get caught up, but with all the additions made to the main scenario quest, I'm not too worried about it. Hopefully, you're happy to be along for the ride. We'll take this character as far as it can go, and hopefully, despite August being quite a busy month, we'll be able to get through some stuff during this month now that I have a little bit more time. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for more Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV. I'll see you next time, and until then, take care.